Hey everybody, Darren Voros here. Today I've got an action-packed video where I want to show you three different things. The TFSA Maximizer, explain the Rule of 72, and show you how if you use the TFSA Maximizer and the Rule of 72, how you can make $53,000 a year in 6 years' time absolutely tax-free. And if you can earn $53,000 a year, that's the equivalent of earning almost $88,000 a year pre-tax here in Canada. And if you're able to earn $53,000 in passive tax-free income in 6 years, that might be something that could significantly change your financial future and be able to get you to your financial goals just that much faster. In exchange for all that information, I would just ask one thing of you, and that's that if you can hit that like button below, and feel free to hit it multiple times if you're so inclined. If you haven't done so already, you can subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and please feel free to leave comments and questions below for me. I hit a bit of a milestone recently with my YouTube channel. I just got over 500 subscribers, so I wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone for subscribing to my channel. It really does mean the world to me, and please feel free to leave future topics that you might want me to discuss in the comments section of any of my videos, and I'd be happy to take a look at it. But without further ado, let's get into our video today. So first, let me explain a little bit about what a TFSA is. TFSA stands for Tax-Free Savings Account. The government of Canada wasn't really doing us any favors by naming it the Tax-Free Savings Account because a lot of people use it like that. They set up an account at their local financial institution, they put money into it, and it grows at a very small rate. The average savings account is paying out less than 1% interest at most financial institutions in Canada. So if you put $100,000 into a savings account and it was earning 1% for an entire year, at the end of the year, you'd have $101,000 in that account. You could draw that $1,000 out tax-free. I don't know about you, but that's not gonna get me to my financial goals as fast as I wanna get there. What the government should have called this account was a tax-free investment account. And then I think more people would understand what you can do with it. A tax-free savings account is a registered account. So that allows you to hold stocks, mutual funds, bonds, GICs, and real estate inside of that tax-free savings account. And unlike those other registered accounts like an RRSP, RESP, RIF, or LIRA, when you withdraw money, that money is tax-free because the account is called a tax-free savings account. So they did get that right. If you're not familiar with who can open a TFSA account, it's really quite simple. As long as you're a Canadian citizen over the age of 18 and have a Canadian social insurance number, you can open a tax-free savings account. So what's the catch? Well, there isn't one really, except that you can only contribute a maximum amount of money into your TFSA account each year. And the government of Canada sets those rates, and for 2020, the maximum contribution allowance is $6,000 for an individual or $12,000 for a couple. The nice thing about the tax-free savings account is if you miss a year or you don't contribute your maximum in any given year, that rolls over to the following year. For instance, if you contributed $5,000 to your TFSA in 2019, in 2020, you'd be able to contribute $7,000 because you have the $6,000 from 2020 and the $1,000 that you didn't contribute in 2019. If you withdraw funds from your TFSA, that exact amount becomes available to you the following year. If I had $50,000 in my TFSA in 2020, I withdrew $10,000 to renovate my kitchen. In 2021, I'd be able to contribute $16,000, the $10,000 that I withdrew in 2020, and then the $6,000 that I'm allowed to contribute in 2021. If you're still a little confused about how much you can contribute to your TFSA, I'll leave a link in the description below for a TFSA calculator. But ultimately, if you were 18 years or older in the year 2009 and you haven't contributed anything to your TFSA up to this point, your maximum allowable contribution is $69,500 for an individual and $139,000 for a couple. Similarly to any other registered account in Canada, your contribution limit is capped, but your returns can grow inside of that registered account and they can compound year over year. So let's say I had $50,000 in my TFSA and I wanted to lend that out to another investor for a second mortgage for a 1-year term at 20% interest. That would give me $10,000 in annual income off that $50,000 at 20% interest. So after the 1-year term is up, that private borrower is going to pay me back my $50,000 that I lent to them and the $10,000 in interest owing. So now I'd have $60,000 in my TFSA account. It's a new year, so I can contribute an additional $6,000 into that account. Now I've got $66,000 that I can go out and lend out again on another private mortgage. So if I take that $66,000 and I lend it out on the same term, 20% interest for 1 year to a private investor on a second mortgage, the interest that I'm going to earn in that second year is now $13,200 in interest. And I know what you're thinking, how can I earn 20% interest on my money? That's impossible. Or is it? And this is where the TFSA maximizer comes into play. So let's say that in 2020, I've been able to max out my TFSA contribution, and as an individual, I have $69,500 in my TFSA. And for couples, that's $139,000. So to keep it simple, let's say that I also have another $69,500 in an RSP account, and when I combine the RSP money and the TFSA money, I've got $139,000 as an individual. So I'm going to take that RSP money and that TFSA money, I'm going to combine the two, I'm going to lend it out to somebody else on a private second mortgage on a 1-year term. And if you're not sure how private lending works, you can check out this video right here that I shot explaining the ins and outs of how private lending works and how real estate investors use private lending to be able to acquire properties. So if I'm lending out money on a mortgage, the CRA states that I have to pay an interest rate somewhere between 3 and 30% interest on that money. So for simplicity, we're going to charge a 12% interest rate on that money that we lend out as a private mortgage. So if I took my $139,000 combined between my RSP and my TFSA and I lent it out at 12% interest for a 1-year term, that would be a return of $16,680 after that 1 year. So because I contributed equal amounts of money and equal interest rates, I'm going to be getting $8,340 back into my RSP and $8,340 back into my TFSA. So unlike the TFSA, an RSP is not a tax-free account, it is a tax-deferred account that will pay tax when we withdraw that money. But because the TFSA is tax-free, I want to maximize the return that I'm making inside of my TFSA account and reduce the amount of return I'm making inside of my RSP account. So let's take that same example of $69,500 coming out of my RSP, $69,500 coming out of my TFSA, lending it out on a 1-year term on a private mortgage. I'm going to use that same 12% interest rate on the money that I'm lending out, so we still end up with that $16,680 return at the end of that 1 year. But here's the way we structure this now. Instead of paying out an equal portion to my RSP and my TFSA, I'm going to lower the rate that I'm paying out to my RSP and raise the rate that I'm paying out to my TFSA. So for my RSP, I'm going to pay a 4% interest rate, and for my TFSA, I'm going to pay a 20% interest rate. So $69,500 lending it out at 4% for 1 year is a return of $2,780 inside of my RSP. Taking that same $69,500 inside of my TFSA and lending it out at 20% is going to give me a return of $13,390 on an annual basis. So when I combine the $2,780 in my RSP, my $13,390 in my TFSA, and I combine them, I've still made that $16,680 after that 1 year on my money. The big difference being that $2,780 has to stay inside of my RSP, and when I withdraw that, I have to pay tax on that money, but the $13,390 is sitting inside of my TFSA, and I can withdraw that tax-free. Yeah, I'll say that again. You can withdraw that $13,390 tax-free. It just gives me shivers down my spine. But wait, how can we justify paying a 4% interest rate on the RSP and a 20% interest rate on the TFSA? We can do that by registering the mortgages in different positions. We can have mortgages in first position, second position, third position, and so on and so forth. The most common scenario where we see this work inside of the TFSA maximizer is that the RSP mortgage is either in first position or second position, and the TFSA mortgage is in second position or in third position. For simplicity, let's say that our private borrower has an existing first mortgage on their property from an A-lender bank in Canada. So they want to borrow funds from me as a private investor. And in our first example where we're paying out a standard 12% interest rate, I would then register a second mortgage on that property. But in the TFSA maximizer strategy, I'm going to register the RSP mortgage as a second mortgage and the TFSA mortgage as a third mortgage. Generally speaking, the first mortgage would be the lowest interest rate, the second mortgage would be a higher interest rate, and the third mortgage would be an even higher interest rate. So it would be justifiable that we're going to pay 3% interest to the RSP portion on that second mortgage and 20% interest to the TFSA mortgage in that third position because it's a much higher inherent risk. So you can see by setting this up creatively, we can actually earn that same 12% interest over that money that we're lending out, but we're earning 4% inside of that registered account that we have to pay tax on and 20% inside that tax-free savings account. And if we can earn 20% interest on our money, that means we can double our money every 3.5 years. And this is where our rule of 72 comes into play. The rule of 72 very simply states that if we take 72 and we divide it by our fixed rate of interest, it's going to tell us how much time it takes to double our money. For example, if I take 72 and I divide it by 4% interest, it's going to take me 18 years to double my money. So let's say I have $100,000 in my RSP and it's earning me 4% interest. After 18 years, I would now have $200,000 in that account. I didn't just choose 4% as an arbitrary number. The average mutual fund RRSP return is somewhere between 7 and 8% on an annual basis. The actual return is 7 to 8%, but there's a 3% fee that most people are paying to have somebody else manage their funds, so we end up making about 4% interest on our money. If you don't believe me, check out this video right here where Kyle Ford and I actually break down what financial advisors get paid inside of your mutual funds. If I take that same rule of 72 and I say I'm making 20% interest on my money, 72 divided by 20 equals 3.6. So that tells me that every 3.5 years, I'm going to be doubling my money at 20% interest. But inside of our TFSA, we can actually double our money every 3 years because we can keep contributing each year to that TFSA. Let's take our earlier interest rate at 20% and let's apply that to our $69,500 that's available to us inside of our TFSA, and let's see how we can make this work for us in 6 years' time to be able to create $53,000 in passive tax-free income. So in year one, my $69,500 being lent out at 20% is going to yield a $13,390 return. That gives me a combined total of $83,400. Now I can contribute another $6,000 to that account because it's another calendar year, which gives me $89,400 to go out and lend out again. Year number 2, I've got $89,400. I lend that out at 20% interest and I've got $17,880 paid back to me in interest. So that combined total is now $107,280 and I can contribute another $6,000 because we're in another calendar year. And now my total in that account is $113,280. Year 3, $113,280 at 20% interest is $22,656 in interest. My combined total is now $135,936. I can add $6,000 into the TFSA account because we're in another calendar year. And I've now got $141,936 in my TFSA. In 3 years' time, I've over doubled my money from $69,500 to $141,936. Let's look at years 3 through 6. $141,936 at 20% interest is $28,387 for a combined total of $170,323 plus $6,000 equals $176,323. My $176,323 in year 5 at 20% interest is $35,264, which gives me a combined total of $211,587 plus my $6,000 contribution limit is $217,587. Year 6 is now $217,587 at 20% interest, which is going to yield $43,517 in interest for a grand total of $261,105 plus the $6,000 I can contribute for a combined total of $267,105. I've now doubled my money for a second time from year 3 to year 6. So at the end of year 6 now, I've got $267,105 in my tax-free savings account. If I just stopped there and I kept lending out that $267,105 and I was earning 20% interest, I'd be able to make $53,421 on an annual basis, tax-free money every single year. That $53,421, if I was paying tax at 40%, would be the equivalent of $89,000 in pre-tax money. And if it's you and your significant other, you get to double the amount of money that you're able to contribute, and also you can double that return, so you can make over $100,000 a year in passive tax-free income if you're using this TFSA maximizer strategy. So the question becomes then, how do I find people that I can lend my money to in order to make these kinds of returns? We can find these people through our mortgage brokers, through our real estate lawyers, or through other real estate investors and real estate investing networks. I'm not saying it's going to be super easy, but if you can create a relationship with somebody who's looking for active money all the time, you can repeat this process over and over and over again. And this is why I love this TFSA maximizer strategy, using the rule of 72 and using private lending in order to be able to build your wealth inside of real estate investing. If you guys enjoyed the video today, go ahead and hit that like button below. You can also subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and please feel free to leave comments and questions below for me. I'm sure there will be many on this subject. You can also check me out on Facebook, Instagram, or my website at darrenvoros.com. With that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching. I wish you the best of success on your real estate investing journey, and I look forward to hearing your success stories very soon.